Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to the On It Instagram Live series. Today I'm going to be sharing space with Kenya. We are going to be talking about worth without the labels. This is a topic that I touch up on the book, on your dance book constantly because it has been super impactful to me and my journey, and I do think that the conversation doesn't often. Kenya is somebody that is a writer and an author and a beautiful soul who I have been in a journey with. And I am so excited to be here and to share space. So, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody before we get sidetracked? I'm excited.
Hi, Telma, and hi, everybody. I am Kenia Margarita. I am a poet, I am a life coach, and I am a speaker. I am passionate about breaking generational cycles and beliefs that keep us from just showing up as the best version and just the authentically, because I think that's something that I struggle with, and I am like super the moment I broke those beliefs, and there's so many more, and I'm still on a journey. And this is what I want to say, that it's a journey. So it's not like I have it all together, I know it all, but it's a journey, and I am so passionate about my journey, but also other people's journeys, because this is life changing for me, and I just want to share that experience with all the women that are going through it, and especially Latina women, and especially first gen. So yes.
Awesome. Yes. So, Kenya, this is a topic that we are both very passionate about. And I feel like ever since we met, we felt the connection of like, there is something in this space when we talk about this that kind of gets us going. And we have had amazing conversations on the topic. But why don't we start from letting everybody know about the way that how you express yourself for the longest time to the point that now you have a book.
Yes. So for can you just how I expressed myself for a long time, and then how that led me to, okay, just clarifying. So for a long time, I always had a passion for words and poetry, and when I was growing up, I remember remembering poems, like, and just kind of reciting them and just being involved in that. But when I moved to the US and I became an immigrant, the language barrier and just a lot of things came at me, a lot of labels. So then I think that it distracted me from who I really was, like the passion that I had with words, and into just being able to tackle that and not really tune into like my words. And I started writing when I was in college, because I got a job where I was able to just kind of sit down, and I was a sub, so I was just sitting down and writing. Like sometimes the students were watching a movie, and I was able to express myself through writing, and I noticed I was like writing stuff that I was like, oh, like let me share with someone about this. Let me share with someone about this thing I wrote about being an immigrant. Let me share with someone I wrote about accents. And so I knew that there was something, and I just started writing, and I created a page on Instagram, Los Versos Kenya, where I started sharing my writing. And at that time, I don't think I had all the tools, the knowledge about self-worth and just who I was, like my identity and what I was, right? And so I was just going about it as a hobby, just because I was so passionate about writing my feelings out on paper. And during the pandemic, there was a lot of talk about like um, reinvent yourself, like let's see the world in a different way, like let's do things like that we always wanted to do. Life is so short and it's so unexpected, and so I was like, I'm gonna put all my poems together and make it a book. And and I did it. That's how it happened. Yeah.
I think it's amazing, and I love this story because it's so powerful. This is a lifelong journey. That's something that you mentioned that I think it's so true, and yet I don't know how often we do not say it. Like, we feel the fact that we are adults, we should have everything figured out, we should know what we're doing, we should know what we're feeling all the time. And the thing is, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing our needs, our priorities, our fears, or wants, all of it. And so, like, why don't we give ourselves the permission to be a work in progress? Like, if there was a label that I would be proudly wearing often, is that one. I'm constantly a work in progress, because the moment that I think I figure something out, there's a test that comes and I'm like, oh, maybe I do need more work on that. Maybe I'm not completely over that little topic that triggered me so much. So it's the permission that we receive, and also the empowerment of giving yourself the permission of putting your feelings out there, right? For you, it was versus. For me, it was more like my life story. I really needed to let that out of my chest, just in case. I know it started from a very morbid place of like wanting to make sure that my kids knew my story. But in the process of writing it all down, I found so much healing and so much permission and so much value of like, wow, I am a lot more than just the mom of my kids, and like this girl that went to college and didn't even know what she wanted to study. So like all of the unknowns became so clear and known to my journey and the person that I am today. Very much a work in progress.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that thank you so much for sharing your story the way you shared it in this book, because it just reminds us like how our labels, yes, like, but also how we evolve through time, and how all those experiences tie us to be the person that we are, like always changing, always evolving. And I it took me back to many of my stories that I had somehow put in the back of my mind, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. Like when you would mention, oh, this I was like into this when I was with my cousins, or like I went to the Girl Scouts. I was a Girl Scout, and all those things I remember. I'm like, oh, like I did something similar, or I had something similar in my journey, and I had forgotten, and it had taught me a lesson that if I went back, I'm like, oh, this explains a little bit of the way I am, right? And so I just love the way that you put it all together in that way, because I think it's so empowering for us to kind of go back and see that we are this whole person of many experiences, many lessons that life has taught us. So yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying that. That's actually so pursued. But I'm so glad that that's Kenya is one of my better readers. She got the book when I gave like a little test time for everybody that wanted to read it. So thank you for reading it. But yes, it was. I really do think that visiting our past from a place of love and understanding, it's not for you to stay there, but it does give you so much power to realize how much you have done, where all the places that you've been, for a place of acknowledgement, of like embracing it, of like, oh my gosh, I did this and I did this and I did that too. And so, because many times we look at our past and we want to stay there or blame it or justify a lot of our behaviors. And On Your Dance is a book in which I touch on the past from a place of acknowledgement. It's been there, done that, and moving on. So not to stay there, not to keep you there, but to realize that you have gathered on your own journey all the tools that you can possibly need to create the life that you want, if you choose to do so, right?
I love that you mentioned that, because for a long time I was on the other side where I kept holding on to those experiences, and they became labels for me, and I held on tight and like was walking around with my labels wherever I went. And I think that kept me from showing up authentically and just receiving the gift of the now. And you know this because I was in the group program Mujeron Movement University, Mujeron University, and through there I was able to release those labels and then just learn to find my worth without those labels. And that was something that I wanted to invite everybody to really take the labels off and redefine who you are. Like who who does Telma want to be, regardless of being a mom, regardless of being a woman, a Latina, regardless of all these labels that we put ourselves, right? And and I think the moment that I did that, like, quién es Kenya? Who's Kenya? And who, what does she stand for? What does she love? What does she, what is she in the world without the labels? Because I would put the labels like, oh, I'm an immigrant. Especially the immigrant label was so huge for me. And the also, like, teaching was a huge one because I think all my life, like, I wanted to teach, and and when I did, like, I'm just a teacher. And knowing that, like, sometimes people think about teachers and they're like, oh, poor you. So I would always have that feeling of like, poor me, like, pobrecita, like, I have so much, I don't know how you do it. That, like, and those were my thoughts, like, I don't know how I do it. And how do you think I felt just thinking, pobrecita, like, oh, poor me, I don't know how she does it all the time. And I think I carried that anywhere I went, like, just with that label of being a teacher, of that label of being an immigrant. And just it didn't let me fully be in the present and receive and accept. And I'm so grateful to be on this journey and to have learned this. And I just invite everybody to do the same.
Yes, absolutely. So I think first we do need to like explain what a label is. So we are talking about labels as anything that is given to you or that you decide to pick in yourself for yourself. Being a teacher, being a mom, being a wife, being a daughter. It's like it's those are names, but it's also a position that you take in somebody's life or in your life. So the invitation that we're giving you today is where you are all of that, but with before you're that, you're you. You're a core of values. You're somebody that gets driven by certain things. You are somebody that gets excited about certain things, that is afraid of certain things, that is very specific to who you are. So this invitation is a space in which we invite you to be like, who are you without, before you are a wife, before you are a mom, before you are a teacher, before you, because a lot of our introductions every day we go through life and we're like, oh yeah, I'm Telma, I'm a life coach, I'm a high performance coach, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker, I'm a all of the things. But then it doesn't really tell anybody who we are at the core. They don't know that I love hiking, they don't know that I love adventure, they don't know that I'm like, so that's it's doing that because so it's coming from that place, from a place of like, I know exactly who I am, that you can become exactly who you want to be, regardless of the titles that you have today. Like Kenya is a teacher, and is a teacher, is going to be a teacher for many of us, but she used to actually just teach at the school. And now the teaching has become to where it's part of her life coaching. She is a writer, and her poems are completely a place in which you get to reflect and learn from or put yourself in that space. So it's also like not setting any boundaries to the type of labels that you have, right? I don't have to be poor because I'm a teacher. I don't have to be like pobrecita because I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher because I love sharing knowledge, right?
Right. I think that it's so with the labels, like, it's so easy to get everybody's opinion and then put it on ourselves. But like you said, defining yourself and your core values and who you are, and once you are a teacher, like what does Kenya bring as a teacher, right? It doesn't have to be defined as anyone else. What does Telma bring in as a mom? Like, you know, you like hiking, you take your kids hiking, and it doesn't have to be restricting, right? Where it's like, oh, this is what teachers do, this is what this person does. And so how are you making it your own, and how are you living your life in your own way? It's what for me has totally transformed my life, where I'm like, this, I know who I am. So even if you put me here or there, or if life throws me something, then I'm gonna still find that me and show up that way. Because for a long time I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be that person, so how do you want me to be? Like, how do you want me to ask? What do you want me to say? And that's when you start feeling, when you just start feeling close. And for me it was a lot of crying. I still cry a lot, but now I'm not different. I'm crying of joy and just allowing myself to have emotions. But before I was crying of frustration, and I was just lost, and I didn't know why. Like, I was just like, I don't know why. But I knew why, right? Because I wasn't being authentic.
Absolutely. I do feel like sometimes, and many of us go through life and we are just trying to just live to the expectations that are set to us. So, and not only we are Latinas, so yes, some we have cultural expectations that we were raised with, and then we moved here. So there's a whole different culture and a whole new society that we try to fit in. So those trying to fit in those, and then depending on where you work, I worked in corporate, so those come with certain expectations. You work in teaching, and the school world works in a different world. So everywhere you look, there's expectations, and many is so easy to think that our job is to just fit in and fit into the box that the world puts us in. Now, there's no judgment to that, but it does cause a lot of resentment. It does cause like those moments in which you're just wondering, this can be it, like this cannot be it. And that's your core, that is your authentic self asking you to please just open up, embrace me, let me loose, let me be, right? And so this is the permission in which you are completely aware of all the expectations, but you start defining which ones you're gonna keep, which ones are not longer like necessarily needed because we're no longer in Mexico maybe, or you're still a teacher but you're not teaching in the school. So how can you redefine those to where you're still being authentic to yourself? Because you can do both. And
Yeah.
and I don't know that the world speaks about this often enough to where like you can still be both. You can be an authentic self and still live by expectations that are serving you. And the other ones, we just say hi.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that, because it just reminds me of in your book how you mentioned how those how your labels and your expectations sometimes led you to say something or have an experience that maybe it was at that moment you didn't see it or what it was for, but then as you went through it, you realize, oh, this is telling me something, and this is like the life lesson learned. And um, you gave us, well, you gave me some tips right there where I could journal and just reflect on certain things that like you carry or things that you do, and I'm like, okay. And I just love that. I love that your book, it's also interactive, where I you give me something to take, right? And I just know that for first gen, if you're first gen, if you are an immigrant or your parents were immigrants, this book just gives you a perspective. For me, that I, as an immigrant, like sometimes I think a certain story like that I drew in my head is the only story, right? And your story is similar to mine but not, and so I just love the diversity in the immigrant stories, and to know them so that I can understand that we are just so connected, and at the same time so different. And yet our stories and our struggles can seem the same, but I just want to thank you for giving those questions at the end. They were so powerful for me to reflect on my own story and my own life. And yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I really think that On Your Dance is a collection of stories that are very personal to me, but it's also an invitation for you to review your own journey. Because if it's something that I will talk until I'm blue in the face, is the fact that we're all completely extremely unique, and that is where our power really lies. And so I did try to make it very inviting, to where, like, yes, I'm sharing my whole life with you, but can you share yours with yourself? Can you take the time to just go back to your past, to just acknowledge it, realize that there's a lesson to everything that you experience, even when that kind of hurts. Like, in the book, I completely confess how I realized later how many decisions I made out of fear, and how I didn't know that I was like living in survival mode. I was not aware. I really thought it was the only way, right? So it's the questions are meant for you to embrace your own journey, to realize that your journey is like nobody else's. And by acknowledging it, and picking up your own lessons, you come from a place of really, really embracing who you are, your values, your core, your authenticity. And I think that it's from that place that you get really empowered to create a future that you're so worthy of, that we are also worthy of. But we don't often get a permission, because it's not a popular topic of like, oh yeah, you can totally like live the time of your dreams if you want to. Like, we hear that in commercials, and I can tell you that for a long time I was like, not me, because I'm not even from here. No, not me, because I don't even speak the language. Not me, and all these things, right? So
Yeah, I think that I love that you said that, because it just, like, it reminded me of like that worthiness comes from within and you, right? So once you realize your worth, you're gonna stop saying these things like, oh, not me, or like, who's gonna come. I like, for some reason I thought I was special, right? Like, I'm special, I have something to give. But I was waiting for someone else to come to me and say, Kenya, you're amazing, come here, let me take your hand and take you to be whatever is your dream, right? Because I see it. Like, I wanted someone else to validate me and to take me by the hand and push me, like, I'm special. I know I'm special. But the moment I gave myself that permission, the moment I realized my worth, then I was able to grab my own hand and take me where I want, the life that you said, the life that I want, the life that I want to create, the life that I want to experience. And that came from finding my value, finding my worth, finding my worth. And the moment I stopped blaming others or waiting for others or for things to happen, that's the moment that I started to live in my value, live in my worthiness. And those labels, like you said, that we have, yes, they are good. They're good, but also to know yourself first and then put the label second. That's when they're good, not when you put the label first and then you don't even know who you are, because that's what I was doing. And so just know that, stop waiting for anyone to do the work for you. Stop waiting for anyone to see your worthiness, and start allowing yourself to find your own worthiness. And like this book, answering those questions, digging deep into your inner self and who you are, what brings you joy, and embrace your journey and your experience, and bring that with you in a positive way that will lead you and give you the strength to find your passion, to pursue your passion, to just really embrace your value.
absolutely, yes, it's so beautifully said. I'm over here just clapping and like full of joy watching you stand in your power, because it is something that we all deserve, we all want, and very few of us take the time to actually dig deep to fully take on. So yes, many of us, you're not the only one that was waiting for somebody to hold your hand and take you there. And here's the thing, there's people that will do that. but they are grabbing you and taking you to a journey that they think you are good for. So it's not necessarily your own journey that you really want because they don't know about it, or they they think that they know, right? But if
Mhm.
you take the time to know what is it that you want, then you are more than capable of, yes, grabbing the support, sure, every now and then, but also knowing that you can take yourself there. And when you're not going there, your body, you're gonna be in tune with it enough to realize that it's speaking to you or saying, you're not listening, girlfriend. You're not listening. And that's when sometimes your throat hurts, your stomach melts, you have a headache. There's something that your own body, your own knowing, your own intuition is telling you you need to either slow down, listen to me, like do some research, just take a beat, and in that space be with yourself so you can make an aligned decision, right?
Yes.
But I don't know that these conversations happen often, and I really hope that they start happening more often, because we all deserve this. We all have like already so much wisdom from our own journey inside of us, that if we get to actually listen and embrace it, you would realize how beautiful and capable and awesome you are, and how ready you are to create the life that you dream, that you dream. Nobody else can know really like exactly how this dream looks, because it's very much yours, and it's as unique as you are, right?
Yes, and I want to say that these conversations, like I didn't grow up with them, like they're not happening where I was at, right? They're not happening in with my mom at my house, but they are happening. They're happening. It's happening right now. And the more I dig and I try to find my people, the people that are doing this, like the more I'm hearing these conversations, and they're happening, but sometimes we are closing those doors, right? We are not showing up to those people or to those spaces where there is these conversations that are happening. So I think that also it also has, you have to go and find them because they are out there. And because I found them once, and it's not that easy to find, especially if you are not surrounded by anyone that's doing it. But if you are right now listening to this and you're finding yourself and you're like, oh my God, this resonates with me, this is something that I've been hearing, then this is your space. Then this is the opportunity for you to have these conversations. Like my messaging, my inbox is open for us to build each other. I remember from your conversation that you were saying, I remember this girl saying that she was so scared to step into her power. And that was her biggest fear. And that resonated with me so much. And I just want to share that today because I think a lot of the times we know our power, we know our worthiness, and we are just so scared to show up and to just bring that out, right? Because it's something that we don't see it. And the moment I heard that, I was like, oh my God, like I feel that, like I think I've been scared to show up to my power, to to really step. And some other, at that same event, some other girl said, my biggest fear is to be alone. And me in my mind, how I connect everything, I was like, my biggest fear is to stand in my power, my biggest fear is to be alone. Those two I connected. Those were my two biggest fears, and these women were saying it, and I was like, I think they go hand in hand, because once you stand in your power, a lot of people will leave, right? And but to tell you, to be honest with you, if those people leave, then you're not alone. Those people were already out there with you. And I just, that moment I realized that was my fear too, to stand in my power, to be alone. But now I see it as, yes, I still have some fear to come up here and share my story, to start my own business. I still have fear, but I know that it's my calling, it's my passion, it's what fills me up. And that fear, I just take it and I'm like, okay, come with me. Like, let's do this, because this is powerful. This is amazing. And I deserve it. And I just needed to share that because like you said, the conversations, we didn't hear them. I didn't hear them growing up. And I'm thankful that we're having them. And I invite others to have them too. If you feel that you need to share something, that you have something to say, for a long time, I stayed quiet. But now, no. We are speaking up, and I invite you to do the same.
Absolutely. I so agree. I feel like many of us are scared of outshining our loved ones or offending our tribe or just outgrowing some friendships. And here's the thing. I'm huge in community building, and this is why. Because I am going somewhere, and I want to go somewhere amazing, but I don't want to go there alone. And I definitely want to share this space with people that are equally as passionate as me on certain topics, and they bring their own very unique gift to this world, right? So it's letting go of the fact of that belief of the fact that if we shine, we're going to shine to right for anybody else. No, your shining is going to support other people's journey into giving them permission to shine themselves, right? And you're going to find people that make this a normal conversation. I know I've been to events where I was like, oh, these people are talking about this. This is amazing. I didn't know this existed. And I left that event completely full of like hope and power and like I'm capable and I believe because I'm seeing others do it. So when you fully allow yourself to shine and fully be, you're also giving those that need that support permission to do the same. So no, you're not outshining everybody, like anybody. That's a terrible myth. And also, you are going to find a lot of people in your journey that are willing to support you, that are willing to, like she said, my DMs are completely open too. And I'm very passionate about this. And of course, I want to share everybody on. And I want to hold you accountable because I know you have very much everything that it takes to make your own dream come true. But sometimes that fear makes us be quiet or just like, no, maybe not today, maybe later. And like, it doesn't have to be, there's not a perfect time. And you already are exactly as you are today. Today's a perfect day to start. Like, you don't have to start with a New Year's resolution. You don't have to wait for the perfect timing. Like, you just have to start now, and you're gonna feel right away the difference of like, oh wow, I am feeling energy that I never felt before. Oh, I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I can do this, and like all the empowerment and all the passion, and that's your purpose saying, finally, you found me.
Yes, and I think you writing this book, you stepping up into your power and sharing your story, you're allowing us to dream and to you pave the way for us to do the same, right? Where now, like, I hear your story and I'm like, oh my God, like it's Telma, my friend, like I know her, she did this. She is amazing, and I can do it too, right? And I know that because you are in my corner, you are with me throughout my journey, that I can ask you a question about it. I can reach out to you. So you become resourceful. You are there dreaming, but also you are there like gaining all these tools and ready. I know because this is why you're doing this, because you want to share those tools with others, right? And I want to congratulate you on that, and also tell you that to me you are an inspiration. And I know it's not only to me, I know it's a lot to a lot of us that have this dream to share their story. And you're teaching us that it's possible, and that's amazing. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much for saying that. Don't make me cry in this life. We already talked about this. No, thank you for saying that. Yes, it is my hope that this book, full of very personal stories, gives you the permission to share yours, so you're completely authentic to it. I, in this book, kind of killed some of the generational chains that I had personally that were holding me back. And with me and with this book, it ends, and it's so freeing and it's so empowering. And I know that my kids are never going to have a conversation about it because it's all out in the open now. Like, I am giving, yes, all of you guys permission and an invitation to do that, because it is so amazing and powerful to stand in where, like, this is where I come from, but this is where I'm going, and I'm here to take you with me. Like, review your journey, own it, embrace it, and start taking the action that you're so called to do. Sometimes in your dreams, sometimes when you're running and you're thinking, oh my God, yes, that's what I want to do, and you feel crazy about it, that's your intuition talking to you. So just listen to it, embrace it. And Erica said, so proud of you too. Thank you for holding the space and sharing your stories. It's our pleasure, and I hope that you do share yours too and embrace it and become part of Erica is actually already a huge part of this community and a huge reason why this book is in everybody's hands. So yes, it's also with the support of others that sometimes there's a moment of fear in which you're like, I don't know if this is meant to be. I don't know who am I? I'm not a writer. Like, that's also when you don't want to claim to labels that have never been yours, right? I'm not a writer. Like, why am I writing a book? Like, who am I? Actually, I am now, but I started by not being one. I started with like a huge mission of like, this is important to me. This is something that I want to complete. And now I very much own and earn the label of it. And you can do the same. You don't have to be perfect at it. Nobody has to give you permission to grab it. You can just do the work, embrace it, and be like, yeah, you know what? Yes, give it to me. I am now a writer.
Yes, and I think I love that because labels are so powerful, and I sometimes I think in the beginning I was like, labels are so bad. Like, I even have a poem about labels, like, label this, like, I'm like taking them all, like, just please stop coming to me. But at the same time, they are so powerful, and they can help you see yourself in a different light. And I think, like you said, like, taking that author and be like, yeah, I take that label, and you know what, this label doesn't serve me anymore, and just being allowing yourself to take those labels, put them on, and walk with them. And then when they're not serving you, you know, like, at this moment, I'm just Kenya. I just want to do, I just love dancing, singing. That's who I am right now. And taking everything else and just embracing whatever the moment that Kenya at that moment needs. That's so powerful as well. So I do want to say that labels are powerful, and we can use them to our benefit. And yes, I'm learning with my labels. I'm still
Yes, absolutely. So the whole conversation, we just wanted to like let you know that the labels are there as a tool that it can serve you, but don't ever let them stop you from trying something else. Just because you have certain labels that are defined a certain way doesn't mean that you cannot redefine them to where it works for you and in alignment to who you are. And if there's a label that you're craving of wanting, own it, grab it, do the work. You don't need anybody's permission. Your permission is yourself. Your dreams are already asking you for it. Your body sometimes is. This is an invitation for you to just go grab the labels that are serving you, and if they're empowering you, keep them, and if they're not, release them or redefine them to where they are something that is part of you. But before any of those are before any of those labels are yours, you are there first. And so who are you? What are your values? What drives you? What makes you excited? What makes you like jump in the middle of the night of like, oh my God, I cannot wait? What makes you wake up 3 times in the middle of the night to make sure that you don't sleep past the hour because this is so important? Like, those are the things that are gonna start telling you what's important to you and what you should be paying attention to, what you should be doing a little bit more often, right?
Yes, I think one of the questions is like, what really brings you joy? Like, what really makes you happy, that fills your cup, and something that you like to do, right? That you enjoy, and kind of go from there. And like, what things bring value? Like, what things that you do that make you feel like, like, yes, like I'm standing, and just rediscovering that, because like you said in the beginning, we are always changing. We are always evolving. And so just for me, this journey of who I am, like it's like, who am I today? Who am I this week? Because we are, everything's changing around us, and sometimes I need more of that, like friends, like people, community. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, I need a little bit more, like just walking by myself, writing, journaling, and processing, and that's okay, and that's still me. Like I'm still social, I'm still, but just who are you? And that keep just knowing that it's not like, oh, I already know and that's it. No, it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. It doesn't. We're always evolving. So we welcome you to grab the title of like I'm a work in progress. It's one of my favorite ones. I let you give you full permission to own it too, because you are evolving, and with curiosity and lots of compassion, you can really start being aligned with who you are today. What is it that you're needing today, and how can you move forward? Where are you going? Where is it that you're dreaming of going? So thank you so much, Kenya, for sharing space. I completely lost track of time because I was like so excited about this conversation. But thank you for your light. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for who you are at your core. And regardless of the labels that you own, I so appreciate you, and it's been such an honor to be part of your journey.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for writing and sharing your story with us. And for congratulations on being an author, an amazing author. And if you haven't, well, the book is coming September 27th, correct? So grab your copy, because this is, it's a powerful, like to know your story is powerful, but also, like you said, to get those tools and work on your own story. For me, it has really helped me. And I'm sharing this, but like I couldn't stop reading, because I was like, oh my god, like it's so good. If you're first gen, if you're Latin, even if you're not, just you wanting to embrace your life, like you're gonna learn so much. Even if you're not a Latina, even if you're not first gen, the tools and the messages, and they're just so powerful. And yes, just grab a copy.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes, the book On Your Dance is fully available to everybody to grab a copy on September 27th. It is a very unique perspective, so it does apply to everybody, but my story is I am a Latina, I am a first gen, I came here and didn't speak English, so if you can relate to that, of course you're gonna relate to a lot of my stories, but if not, then it is just a new perspective to where you can also go out in the world and show a little more compassion to those that are so different from you. So with that said, Hawk, thank you. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for everybody that joined. I so appreciate you joining this live series, and I hope that you're enjoying them and you have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Kenya. Thanks.
Bye.